It is March 4th, 2025, and we're at Orpheus's garden. You want to introduce yourselves?
You go first.
Hi, my name's Billy.
Oh, I'm Casper. Do we say a little or something? Okay.
I mean, yeah. Or do you want to say like any bands you're affiliated with, or?
Oh no, I'm not really affiliated with him, but he's in.
Yeah, I'm in a band, Sunfish Pond. It's a very, very low band, not a lot of followers, but...
That's cool. Cool. So, how did you guys get into the DIY scene?
It's all my fault. I started it because my father used to throw shows in the 90s in North Jersey in a farm area, and then kind of moved it to New York a little bit. And then we moved back to the farm area, and he was like, no more shows, but we're going to do like community stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I came down here, I kind of didn't know like about the house show scene much. Mm-hmm. And started throwing house shows in North Philly. Mm-hmm. After I think going to a place that was called Domo's Barn, and that used to be like next to the stoop and stuff. This was like circa 2020, 2021. Mm-hmm. Essentially I was like, oh shoot, my dad used to do this, I'm gonna do this. And he's still involved in the scene and stuff. He comes to our shows and stuff, but it was my fault. I was like, I'm gonna do this here at this house, I'm gonna throw one show, see how it goes, and then like 150 people showed up, and I was like, whoa, wait a second. They were all from Jersey, too, which was weird.
Wow.
When was that?
That was back, if you give me a second, I can tell you in 2 seconds, because that actually was like a last-minute show. Mm-hmm. That was back in August 26th of 2022 in this house. Yeah. It was for a show in September 23rd. It was like a $5 show, and it actually makes sense because it was all Jersey bands playing.
There you go, of course. Yeah.
And I didn't know any of the bands here, so I was just grabbing anybody who wanted to play at a house show. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
That's cool.
That was the debut.
Dragged in.
Yeah, I did get dragged into this.
I only met him like 2 years ago, and we started talking.
Yeah, you started the venue. Their first show was around September. I met you around April, and then I think the first show I attended here was in May of 2023.
Yeah.
Cool.
How do you come up with the name Orpheus's Garden? I
kid you not, I just looked up who's the Greek god of music, and it came up as like Orpheus's story, and I was like, let me read about this. And it was like literally about a man trying to save his wife through playing a lute. Mm-hmm. And even like our hand signs that we give to people when they come in is a lute. Mm-hmm. So that's essentially it, because I was like, this is pretty cool, let me get this.
That's awesome. Yeah, I am. Unfortunately, I made the poor decision of being like a classics major in college. So like I had to do like Latin and stuff. Yeah. And like I was like, Orpheus's Garden, like why would they how did they find this name? You know what I mean? Like I'm not used to the real world.
I just thought I just kind of like wanted to steer away from like the classic like names that they have for like shows, which is like one word names a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. And I do like when there's like a nice like long name, like we're friends with the Pouch, the Fortress. Mm-hmm. It's always like the this.
Yeah.
And we're like, let me just call it Orpheus's Garden, because I'm also originally from the Garden State.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
And I lived on a farm that was just like a peony farm. And I even have like that tattooed on me. It was just a garden, and we used to throw shows in a garden. So we were originally going to be called The Garden. But then we saw somebody else was named that, and then there was also the band that's associated with that name, so it was like, I'll just call it Orpheus's Garden.
That's cool. Cool. So then, what kind of music do you usually host?
All types.
No specific genre. We're very open.
Yeah, we started as a psych music type, because psych music is so like, I guess, hand in hand with mythology in a way. Yeah. And so we started as a psych venue, and then one day, like, I got hit up a hardcore band, and they were like, yeah, we need a place to throw shows. And I have this really bad habit of just being like, yeah, just play here, not researching anything, not putting any time into like looking into these bands. I was like, yeah, play here. And then we had a death metal band here, and I was just like, oh. And then like a good crowd came in for them, and I was like, oh, I guess we could just all do all kinds of music. And so we have literally genres from like, I've had jazz bands play here, we had fusion play here, we've had all the way from performers all the way from Japan, from Kikagakumoyo, which was a psych band.
That was a fun set.
That was a crazy cool set. It was like all based off kabuki theater. So there was literally someone like with the masks and walking around the crowd and going through the stairs and like walking through the whole basement, essentially doing theater acts from Japan. And they were literally like, they didn't speak a lick of English. They were straight from Japan. I had to like, everything that was talked to them had to be translated through me because I speak Japanese. So it was just like this language barrier, but there wasn't at the same time because it's music. So it was like amazing. But we have like all forms of music pretty much play here.
Very cool.
Last month alone, we had a post-punk set, then straight into an EDM set.
The next day, the Sugar Pit show, and then right after was literally the EDM show. It was crazy.
And then I think we had like a harder kind of show about a week ago.
I think, which one? I forgot.
Yeah, we have so many.
I have so many
shows. It was the
shows.
most recent show that just happened.
Literally, we have another show coming up on the 8th. That's another hardcore show, but it's like rock and roll hardcore. So like it's like a mix.
How do you usually book? Like bands reach out. You reach out to bands ever?
So we stopped reaching out to bands because of the amount of bands that hit us up. It's like you can message us one day, and the next day we'll have like 20 other people messaging us. And we used to do emails when we had the emails out essentially for people to send to us. It was just like hundreds on hundreds of emails because like I guess South Philly, the name South Philly is so like significant to people outside of here that they'll be like South Philly venue. And then we were the only ones who will come up, like house shows and stuff. And we have now like IBP, which is Little Big Planet down the road. I want to attend one of their shows because I haven't like really been there. And then we have Nightmare and Percy's, which is a folk-based area, which is on 22nd.
I will say that like the influx of messages definitely started getting big when one day we found out the venue was now a legitimate venue on Google.
Yeah, you can look up Orpheus's Garden and it comes up with like images, Reddit pages, Songkick or whatever, setlist.fm.
Yeah.
We like literally a year ago, it was just like pictures from our Instagram and then all these like bigger bands essentially that would post up our place and be like, oh, like here's our flyer. Blah, blah, blah. And we worked a lot with like disaster artists and Friend who happened to like blow up really quickly. They worked so hard to blow up, but like it's like they blew up really quickly and then they started using this venue a lot more. And so I would feel like it comes down with that. A lot of bands that also post their stuff on like Spotify and things. Because I saw a band called DD Island we had here. They posted our show once, and it came up on Spotify, like, concerts in town. Yeah. And I was like, what? So, that's cool. We try to, like, mix it up here, essentially, and try to have, like, smaller bands with bigger bands, so they can, like, both help each other out, and then, like, split that, essentially. Yeah. But, yeah.
Cool. So then I guess, you want to tell us a little bit about your decor?
Yeah, I can't really maximalize here, but I'm a maximalist. I love kind of like, how do you explain it? Like whimsical, gothic decor. I try to do it with just that table. Just this table. There's like also like Turkish lamps and like little types of like tchotchkes and stuff that are all around. I collect a lot of dead plants and I collect a lot of plants in general. This is not the most of the plants we've had here. I've had 10 times more plants, but I ended up giving them away to my roommates so they can have at their new place. But I try to like mix up the colors with purple and orange, and usually like our lights are on, but these are broken. We're getting new ones in. They used to be purple, now we got orange ones coming in. And we try to stick with this purple orangey kind of like a dazed and confused kind of feeling. And then you get to the basement and you're like, what the heck? Like everything's green. There's a green ceiling, a green this area. There's like a whole area in the back that's just random stuff. I try to like keep it as random as possible, but within the same color theme of dark colors. I'm obsessed with decorating. I feel so bad because I'm like, this is my space. I'm gonna decorate it. Yeah. But yeah.
As you should.
Oh, sorry, it's the plant light.
Yeah,
oh no.
Automatically, yeah.
Cool.
And so I think you mentioned earlier about sound, but you want to tell us about,
your setup.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
You know
What's your setup? How do you do that? Yeah.
So usually we just run about like 2 mics. Sometimes I'll run 3. We got 2 monitors or 2 PAs. That's really it. It's a really light setup because it's really small in there, and it just, due to the fact that it is underground, covered in concrete, the sound just bounces around. Nothing needs to be mic'd up, just the people singing.
You gotta like wear earbuds down there because people have gotten shell shock, and like because it bounces so much because of concrete walls. When the bands play in the box, we call it, the sound just hits the wall so much that when they come out, they can't really hear that well if they didn't wear ear protection.
Yeah.
And so we've had a band once play here. I think there were shark earrings or something. They were walking, I was like saying, how was the show? Like, how was the set? Because I was like doing door, and they like walked past me, like didn't even hear me. And then they kept telling me that they like hear ringing. And I was like, you wear ear protection? And they're like, no, I'm sorry. And I was just like, yeah, it's shell shock down there. Like, it's a great space for practicing, but when it's like a big show, like not all the people can like drown out the sound. And yeah, he, like, it's funny because, going back to, like, the question from earlier, he didn't even start doing sound until, like, last year.
Yeah, I mean, I've done sound in, like, the past for, like, events, so.
Well, yeah, he started doing sound for us because most of our team is from Jersey, so they, can't, like, really make it out here every time. We're their ride and everything, so... Like, he started taking over. I literally asked him when I was like, hey, we were friends at the time, so I was just like, hey, I really need someone to do sound down there. I'll pay you personally from my pocket. Like, please, can you come so I can do door and stuff? And they were like, okay, I don't have anything to do. Oh, okay.
Cool. So then, I guess, you have a favorite feature of the venue?
Yes, our basement in general. I mean, I could talk about the light, but I'm more proud of the basement in general. I worked on that with a few friends. They're not really here like in Philly anymore, so I can't really like be like, oh yeah, it's these guys, because like they don't even come to the shows anymore. They have their own lives and stuff. They only really worked on it for a little bit as like an art project. The biggest thing down there that's like my favorite thing is the art wall. We have like a whole wall just filled with people's art, and we have had 2 other ones before, but the other one's behind the bar area, which is like the merch area essentially. We call it the bar. And in that back area is all like the previous 2 years of art of people drawing on this like giant like paper mural that we have, and including like band stickers, bands and like had contact bands, people talking about stuff, and nothing like ever bashing anyone. Like, it's amazing because most of the time people take the opportunity to say like really rude things on paper.
Oh yeah.
Nothing. We've never had that issue. We did that so people don't write on our walls, because so many venues have this like problem where they sometimes get walls got written on in the basement, and I feel so bad for them because I'm like, I'm so passionate about getting my deposit back. So we have that paper wall. That one's our big mural and everything. Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to shout out, like, if there are other people who are involved with the venue, who, like, help out with running shows and stuff?
Yeah, we have, what was Marshall's page, their YouTube page thing.
TV Say No More.
Yeah,
no
TV
spaces.
Say No More. That's our friend Marshall. They do the videography here. They do the pictures. They do the design work in terms of, like, when we have what's it called? The projections up.
Mm-hmm.
We have our other door guy, who's Dan Rios. He's, like, currently a medical student in North Jersey right now, doing rotations before their residency.
Mm-hmm.
We have Mr. Vile here. Like your band, Sunfish Pond. It's a small team. We have very few people essentially, but we have a very strong team that has been going on for a while. So mainly Marshall and Dan Rios and
mainly a close-knit group of friends.
Yeah, it's a close-knit group of friends. Clementine.
Hey, Clementine.
Clementine's our main vendor that comes here. They sell patches, they sell snacks. Mm-hmm. They all hand make everything. I think it's like inclement weather, or murky river water. That's their like their art page. Yeah. Where they sell their like stuff. They like have they work with places like Woodstock, if you know the Anarchy Bookshop. Mm-hmm. They work with them essentially to like sell their patches, sell masks with designs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They do everything. They're like also like our safety committee, because they come here and they're like, you guys should do masks and earbuds, and they're the reason why we started doing that here. So yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Outside of the venue, do you have like other art hobbies, things you do, stuff you do for work?
You can go first with this one, because you're a musician and a lot.
Musician, career-wise right now, I'm in the culinary.
Oh, cool.
He works in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You'll elaborate. You do this.
A little bit. Yeah. But right now I'm just trying to work my way up in kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Essentially, right now I'm at the bottom of the totem poles.
Oh no!
That's where you gotta start.
Well, no, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
true.
Start and work out.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, he's a really good cook.
Thank you. And
cool.
Music, I make some solo stuff from now and then. I haven't really posted anything, but looking forward to eventually.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Sunfish Pond.
Yeah, Sunfish Pond. I'm the drummer for Sunfish Pond. We are a psychedelic rock band.
I am a tattoo artist. I do private tattoos. I'm finally certified by the state of Pennsylvania as a private tattoo artist. I mainly work in black work. When I think about it, like I'm kind of all around. I do tattoo work. I have ADHD, so I have like we can name down a million hobbies, but my main one is tattoo work. Yeah. I'm also a fill-in guitar player for like bands and such. So right now I'm filling in for Rachel Reel, who's I think like it's like I don't even know. It's like the Cardigans type music, like very jazzy, very like whimsical, like tweed based, and that's essentially that, and just mainly this too.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have any?
I guess you kind of covered it a little bit with some, but
a little bit. But any other memorably good, bad, or funny stories from shows?
We have so many.
It's so bad. Like, we've had a time where they're no longer a band, but we had this one band come here that was completely shirtless, no shoes, no shirt. Like, started the show a whole hour and a half later.
Oh yeah, that was the first ever show I came here. I come here thinking I was gonna be late because I had been running around like up and down East Pennsylvania, essentially going up and down into the burbs and into the city, and I get here like really late. and I'm like, oh, the show hasn't started? And keep
It
in
was
mind,
so
it's already
late.
9:30.
Yeah.
It's already 9:30.
The first band is not going on, and they were supposed to go on at 8. The guy just left.
He left. He just disappeared.
He
the
just
lead
disappeared
singer.
because he didn't want to go on first. Their band did not want to go on first, so they tried everything to push it back.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was so funny because they went to go play down there, and
It did not smell nice.
it
didn't smell the
so they're like,
greatest.
so they practice like a certain religion or whatever that they don't believe in washing. They said so, like they don't take showers, and I was like, oh, you know, respect. And then like you just see all the crowd like in there is like, yeah, let's get it. And then it starts getting sweaty and hot down there, and
You can
the
see like the crowd just
filling the living room up. It just it starts changing up. There's just like everyone's leaving, and we're like, oh no, like oh crap. We had like, I'll name like one really like cool one we had of the situation. The one was the Japanese band. We get a lot of bands from like other
that
countries.
was definitely a very crazy thing for me because I followed their band, their previous band that actually just like stopped making music and was permanently done. And I thought there was going to be nothing left out of those artists. And then Casper all of a sudden is texting me like, do you know who Kikigaku Moyo is? And I'm like, of course I know who Kikigaku Moyo is. It's like one of my favorite bands. And they're like, so the guitarist wants to play in our basement. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, we literally
No
had
way.
to just like make it kind of private and like post it up like last minute because we were scared of how many
And it was
people.
still filmed.
It ended up in a Reddit page, like several Reddit pages just posted it up like Kikugaku Moyo's
Because
doing.
it's a huge artist.
Yeah, we also like one crazy thing that we do is like all of our posters until recently have been handmade. Like every single one of them, every single kind of like drawing based
For
one.
the most part, yeah, they're all
I think
handmade.
they're all upstairs. We have to take them down because a lot of bands have
Yeah,
like
little-
when they're taking their stuff up,
It's a
they'll
narrow
like bang
hallway.
into it.
They'll
Yeah.
accidentally bang
Yeah.
into it with
So
like
it'd
their
be
shoulder or
like-
something.
It went from like okay art to like we started noticing how hard we had to go to like make our art. So we started making like this is all handmade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
we
they
have-
drew that.
Yeah, we started touching different areas. Like we try to
And-
do like this is handmade. What was that?
It's my band.
This is the Kikugaku Moyo
Oh
one.
yeah, I will have a
Awesome.
crazy story from before I was helping, but like this was before I really started helping. I actually have played a couple gigs here as a musician, and the first ever show I played here, on the way, I pull a whiplash. So what happened? I totaled my car on the way to the gig with all of my band's equipment, including the backline for the drums.
Oh no.
We unloaded my drums and all the music equipment from my totaled car into another person's car. Then we drove it here, and then I played the show.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
told him, I was like, you don't have to
And
do
that
this.
show is...
And he's like, I came all this way, I'm doing it. Like,
I was
I'm
just
doing
so mad that I lost my car. I'm like, I gotta get something out of it.
It's
I
him.
gotta
It
get
was
something out of it.
Yeah.
Him and his bassist, essentially. And then they both came here
Yeah.
and played a great set.
Me
It was
and the
crazy.
bassist, we both took a ride together, and yeah, we got into a pretty heavy accident.
Yeah, like their
Wow.
whole car was
I-
totaled, but
Oh
the
my
whole
gosh.
car's in front of them, which is funny. It was just completely funny.
Yeah, my
It was
car
just his
got
car
like
was just
smushed like a
smashed.
pancake.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
literally
The car
like,
in front of me had a small little dent.
Just like drove away.
I wish
all the
we
other
still
cars
had a
drove away.
picture of it. I wish we still had a
I
picture
do.
of it. You
actually.
do?
Yeah.
It's literally like smashed. It looks literally like the whole front end was gone. And it was crazy because the Suburban that was in front of it, like this giant SUV, was just untouched. And then
Wow.
his thing is just like smashed up, and I'm like, there's no way you're going to be able to play here.
And no equipment damage.
No? Did you?
I did break a snare stand.
That's it though.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank God you guys are okay.
Yeah, other than that, I was
And the
fine.
equipment.
Yeah,
My
his
tinnitus
guitarist-
got worse. That's about it.
His guitarist was here, and he was like,
It's like,
yeah,
where are my
they
friends?
just got into a car accident. I was like, what do you mean? So I'm like thinking it's like a fender bender, like, oh, you know. And then he calls me on FaceTime, and it's like, completely totaled. I'm like, you don't even have a car anymore. He's like, yeah, it doesn't even run. I'm like, of course it doesn't. You don't even have an engine.
So,
yeah.
it seems like I have deleted them.
Didn't you get a new phone? Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's not even on my backups.
Because his last one, I think, was broken or something like that.
But essentially,
conjure our imagination.
The whole thing was, like, crushed.
We have so many stories about this place that it's kind of insane. It's kind of crazy. I'm amazed, like, how we've had no, like, actual issues, like, any type of allegation situations, or, like...
Oh, actually, I did find them.
Oh!
Here is the exact picture from the highway. This is on 76, or 676.
Wait, I don't even remember it.
Right before the bridge.
Oh, yeah, his car was total. Like, that's oil
they
coming
all
out.
stopped real quick. No, I was covered in radiator fluid and fiberglass.
Yeah, he was really
and I wore a
covered in
ski
it.
mask, I think, during that show. Didn't I?
Yeah, you did wear a ski mask. He wears a ski mask in the back because their like music is very like psych, but it's like progressive rock too.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that you still have pictures of it. But yeah, we have like tons of stuff that's happened here. But I'm just happy we haven't had any real like serious issues. Anytime we've had a situation where we like see someone that might have like a name in the scene that's not so good, that whether it's like harassing women to harassing the community in general, or just like just being a bad person in general, we try our best to kick them out like as fast as possible. We try to ensure we've had people who literally recorded me kicking people out. I would be honest, like I'm a very loud person, so I'm like, get the hell out of my house, like get out, like I'm screaming at them because I've had situations where they'll just stare at me in my face like I didn't just talk to them. And
one time though, it did suck. There was a miscommunication, and a band member brought his uncle and like some of like people. He didn't give us a heads up on this person, and like they were acting weird, and it turned out to be like an uncle. And then we were like, oh no, like I shouldn't have come. Yeah, we felt really bad because I ended up like being like, you need to leave, and then the band being like, that's her uncle. And I was like, okay, never mind. So now and it was because we had someone literally tell me in my ear all these things, and I ran upstairs and I was like, where is he? Like, so I was just, I'm so sorry. The plan auto shuts on, it auto turns on, yeah.
But, sorry, my throat is like dry. I haven't had enough water.
Would you like a glass of water?
Please. Can you just bring the jug?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring the jug.
There's a giant jug upstairs of water. We've had a lot of situations here that, like, we've never had a really bad situation, which is really good. But most of the time, it's just like funny situations that are just like could have either been avoided or it was just funny in general. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm trying to also think of any other like cool stories that have happened.
I mean, we've had like cool bands, like people from Germany, people from Japan, people from Brazil. We work with a lot of people outside of here from New Jersey. We try to stay like in community and such.
I will say, like, through like bands that have played here, we've gotten to talk to some crazy people, even some incredibly famous people, which is like insane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep all their names anonymous though.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. So I guess wrapping up the interview now. Is there anything else we should be asking you? Anything you definitely want included that we didn't cover at all?
I will say, like, I feel like it's a very, like, okay, so more, like, I don't know if it's controversial per se, but this is a very, like, heavily male-ran scene. And a lot of the times, and he's even witnessed this, I get ignored completely.
Oh yeah, sometimes though everybody thinks I'm the person who started it and runs it, and I literally go, no, they did.
Yeah, they're nice enough to do that. They're nice enough to do that. I tell them not to do that.
Anything.
I tell them not to do that.
But like, I do it just because I want people to talk to the person who actually runs it and created it.
Yeah, I've had like it kind of like sucks in that because I've never met like other AFAB people that may like be in the scene, and or like a lot of the time, like, anyone who's, like, femme in general is, like, constantly kind of overlooked in the scene, whether it's, like, music to even running house shows. They never really guess, like, a woman can do this, you know? And it's funny because, like, I've added people to the team. Every time it's always, like, you need to come and work the show, come to the show, like, kind of thing. And I feel so bad because my friends are always the ones who are, like, they'll go up to them, and it's always, like, the male counterparts, essentially, that get talked to, and that includes the, you know, Dan, Marshall, and them. They're, like, really big in the team. It's just that there's sometimes questions that they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, you gotta ask Casper, because I would run, essentially, like, be okaying the bills.
Yeah, like Dan, he'll usually say that. Marshall, they'll usually say that.
Yeah, they'll all, like, try to be nice enough to, like, point me out and be like, ask her. And it's interesting because you can see, like, some of the guys' face, like, be like, oh. And because, like, it's like, oh, dude, it's a dude. We could talk about this, you know, and really, like, you know, connect with each other because we're dudes. And then they come and meet me and they're like, hello, I would like to inquire a possible show. And so, like, it's like they get all nervous and such, and I'm like, I try to explain to people, I'm like, you shouldn't have to be, if it's like any woman in the scene, any person in the scene, you should never be scared to, like, go up to them, especially if they're, like, throwing the shows. I did not, like, I've had people tell me, like, oh, I just get scared because, like, you guys are known, and I'm like, I don't see us as known in any way.
I have one pet peeve, so when I go and I introduce myself to people, not just concert goers, band members, other venue people, I'll go and I'll tell people my name, and I have a famous cousin who's a musician. I'm gonna keep their name anonymous, but let's just say they have a mural in Fishtown. And all the time I say my name and they're like, oh, are you related to this person? Low-key, it does kind of get annoying.
I have one more thing I want to say that would be like a fun fact kind of thing. Or we're like, I never seen this with other venues. Maybe there is a venue out there that I haven't seen it yet, is that we push that we are LGBT POC based. My whole background is I'm come from immigrants, a father from Alabama who's black guy. I don't know how to say it correctly. African American guy. I don't know. It just feels weird to say it like that because it's my dad. But like, and we like essentially try to produce that so POC people feel more comfortable to be at house venues, because a lot of venues are very saturated with like one specific race group sometimes. So you don't get to see much, like, I don't get to see my Hispanic brethren. I don't get to see my, you know, like POC groups. And it's because of like, you know, when it's a one saturated kind of group where it's like very cisgendered, one specific like kind of like, you know, majority group, it's kind of hard for minority groups to go to shows because they don't really have anyone they can connect with, in a sense. They can connect through music, which is amazing, and that's what we try to produce here. And we get a lot of like recently, like we started talking to the Pouch and Funhouse and such, because they try to push out, you know, more of LGBT and POC groups and such, and we're really pushing to have more like shows here that are like that as well. We're like in the talks right now with a band from Mexico to play here and such, with my friend who's from like a heavily majority Hispanic area of New Jersey, called Dover, and I originally lived there and stuff, and I grew up there, and I just kind of wanted to make this a safe space for people who might feel like don't exactly like, you know, fit into the majority crowds that are like in West Philly and such. Also, we're like out the area from the schools, so you're getting people who are around your 20s, like who live here. It's not like, oh my god, dude, I want to experience a house show. And then like they go to your West Philly or North Philly, like Temple area, Drexel area kind of thing. Not taking away from like house shows that are there though, because honestly, like respect, because I can't have that many people in my house like that. Like the last time we had the sugar pit here, that was so many people. Last time we had a show that big, it was Disaster Artist and Friend coming off of a tour.
Yeah.
And it was just insane here too. It was a crazy amount of people.
Literally, I think Friend and Disaster Artist played that show.
Sugar Pit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Right.
Sugar Pit, Friend, Disaster Artist.
Yeah, and that
Quite
was a stacked bill. Yeah. Someone kept telling me, they were
Small
like,
heads,
"Are you sure you want those bands
Small
together?"
head, big torture disrespect.
Yeah, we wanted to give it. We wanted
What's
to
it
give
called?
an
They
opportunity.
are playing again, March 8th. So
Yeah.
this Saturday.
Small
Sure.
head.
Oh yeah, they're playing here again. I love them.
Yeah.
They're like the.
Small head.
There's like I think their name's Geo. I love their band. They're I have a parasocial relationship with them on the internet. I never knew them in person. I'd see them around town. It was kind of like, I always describe it as like celebrity Sims, if you've ever played Sims. It's like always a celebrity. Dan's literally calling me right now. We talk every day. I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna let him bring it out. He'll understand. He knows what time it is. But I call them celebrity Sims because in Sims it'd be like a local person, but they're a celebrity. So like when you see them, you're like, oh, that's that guy from that band. So like when we're seeing like Chris Mayo and them, we're like, oh, it's Disaster Artist. And it's like they know me as a person, but I like freak out a little bit because I'm like, oh my god.
You were Jimmy Brown the other day. We ran into Jimmy Brown at Kung Fu Next Time.
He passed by and I'm like, Jimmy Brown.
I didn't even notice.
He puts the character on and he's like, hello. And I'm like,
I swear to God, he doesn't drop that bit.
No, he doesn't drop the bit.
That's awesome.
On like mad dedication.
Yeah. But yeah, we try to like, I want to try to be connected more. I'm trying to be more connected with the community itself. I don't like, I don't get too connected and like close with people in terms of the community because it can be scary. It can be rooted into anything. So we try not to do too much. But recently we started going to house shows again. I recently was at like the MoMA. And they're really cool. Our friend Robbie's there. So we visited them, and then there's like other places, so like the Underworld, the Machine, when they were a venue, not when like they started doing booking. I think they're still kind of a venue still.
I know when Fear and Loathing was a thing, we were very close.
Onion Transfer. Yeah, there's a good amount of places. I just want to get more connected. Oh, the Garden. The Garden was one. They used to be the Garden House. They used to be over here, like near here, and then they moved now to North Philly, and we used to essentially support them as well. IBP, there's a few places. But
yeah. Cool. So then I guess upcoming shows, coming up.
We have a March 8th show, March 15th show, a March 29th show.
Okay.
Or was that our 29th show we just had?
We had a show on the 22nd.
We have a ton of shows.
We'll look them up.
Yeah, we have a March 8th show with the Angies. We have like a close connection with the Angies because the lead singer did my tattoos. She does like
also
stick and
my
pokes.
tattoos as well.
Yeah.
Singular.
She does amazing stick and poke art, which is like this his price tag. This like amazing thing. Some of my leg tattoos that she's done is insane because it's all
impressive.
Like stick and poke based.
Just with a needle,
just with the little
really,
needle.
Really impressive.
Yeah, and she's amazing. And she's great voice and everything. And
they're playing the 8th.
They're playing the 8th. Them, Miracle Blood, Small Head. They're like all great bands that are playing that day. The 15th we have Chloe playing here. That's our DJ set, which we rarely have DJ sets. So
I think this is like our second DJ set.
I think, of all time.
Either second or third.
Because the EDM thing wasn't even a DJ set. It was like live, like singing over synth. And like our basement was covered
I will say that was the most interesting sound setup I ever had to do that night.
Yeah.
So many patch cables, so many synths going into each other. I saw if you're familiar with Focusrite. They had a Focusrite Scarlett plugged into another Focusrite Scarlett plugged into another Focusrite Scarlett.
It's daisy chaining them.
Yeah.
And just to get a certain sound out.
I will say that it was. I was just glad that they knew what they were doing with the pad. I could basically.
Yeah, they hosted their own show. We were literally like just there. Yeah. I was like,
they're like a bunch of like music students. Mixing and everything.
Most of the time, like we tell bands like bring your bill because we like there's so many bands asking us, can you throw us on a bill? Can you throw us on a bill? And then half the time, we can't even decipher a bill because we're getting bombarded by other people going, we have this bill. We have this bill, and we have other house shows going, we have this bill. So we're like, okay, we'll just take the bill.
We're pretty laissez-faire with it, pretty hands-off. Just let the people do what they need to do.
Yeah, this is like a community, I'll say. This is a community house for community shows.
People will come to us, already have the bills ready, we'll book the
We're very much first come, first serve.
Exactly, yes.
Cool. So I guess the last thing is just, where can people find you?
Instagram.
Yes.
We have a Reddit page that was based on us too, which is the Orpheus
subreddit.
Yeah, subreddit called the Orpheus House. What's it called? You can find us on Instagram and that. We don't really use like Twitter and stuff. I'm not a Twitter user. I was the one who mainly worked the account the whole time. It was just one person for the longest time until I like threw you in recently. I was like, here's the password, get in.
Oh my god.
Please help me.
Since doing that, my phone nonstop
blows up
all day.
That's how it goes.
You're like thinking your homie's hitting you up. It's like another
I really
man.
think my friends are hitting me up, and I go all excited to go text them. Nothing. It's just.
I
got this cool bill for.
I feel so bad half the time because we have so many bands that like we're not trying to ignore them.
It's like
it's just so many.
As much as we try to look at every message. Most likely there is going to be a message left unread because so many just come in.
It's just like we miss a lot of messages that get like like how do you call it, like almost like
they get literally like pushed down to the bottom.
Pushed down. And when we like see certain ones, we already book out our shows. We only do 2 to 3 a month. And if we were to message every single message, we would have the whole month booked out, months after months after months. If we were like a real place, like how Underground Arts is, because Underground Arts actually started from a house venue. If we were like them, then we would probably be booked out.
Of an apartment.
We would be booked out every day, kind of thing. But it's just like we want to give opportunities to bands to be able to play out here without having to pay such a hefty fee. We don't make bands pay a hefty fee. We pay them full door. We've had situations where like we've made so much money and we'll just give it to the bands because they're touring, they're working so hard. We've had touring bands that are so big, like Sugar Pit, they donated all their money. Like all the bands were like, give the money to Sugar Pit. They're the touring band. And then the Sugar Pit guy was like, oh, give it to them instead because we don't need it. So the only band that was like, no, was Disaster Artists. And then we ended up giving that half to Sugar Pit. And then everything else was like to every other band. And it's crazy how good like the community has been. We also try to keep it low cost because we used to do $5 shows and then people were still asking us to know to flow fit.
Just with the current economic situation, we try to keep it low. A lot of venues I know have been doing 15 and up, which in my opinion
we're a house venue. We're
like you can go to Union Transfer for $25.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then they have like everything that's equipped in safety and such.
You just kind of like have to like really put your price in the right spot where it's like a good bang for the buck.
But because of Orpheus's Garden, I've been able to like actually talk to like bigger bands. Like we were able to talk to Passé, which is a German band, and we've been able to talk to like Godcaster and I can name like a few others. It's just that they don't come up to like mine immediately. I got to talk to Jordy Greep at some point from Black Betty. There's
multiple
times. Yeah, he's a cool guy. We've had like a few great bands play here and stuff, but yeah, usually they can just find us essentially from Instagram and stuff.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you.